The air travel bubble between Singapore and Hong Kong is set to take off on the 26th of May under tightened conditions. It will allow for travellers to move between both cities without quarantine or the need for a controlled itinerary. The arrangement is being rolled out 6 months later than planned. Gwyneth Yeo with more.
A more cautious tone was struck as both cities held media conferences. They set out more stringent arrangements for travellers who mustn't have left Hong Kong or Singapore 14 days before departure or be serving a quarantine or stay-home notice during this period. Both sides now also require testing before departure and on arrival. Travellers will have to use contact tracing apps in both cities. Hong Kong residents must also be fully vaccinated at least 14 days before departure. To give them time to get jabs, the first flight will be a month from now. Transport Minister Ong Ye Kung says the wait gives travellers and the tourism industry more time to plan. It's also for both sides to verify that they can control the spread of COVID-19. Singapore, for instance, has barred visitors from India, which is seeing a record spike in cases.
We know that in the region there are places where pandemic is at a very high level, and our alert level is all very high. Our guards are all up. So we want to take that 1 month to make sure that all the control measures were put in place in both cities will work, and I believe they will.
The air travel bubble was supposed to take off in November, but it was grounded after cases went up in Hong Kong. The Transport Ministry said the situation has improved in Hong Kong over the past few months, with very few local unlinked cases reported in the past few weeks. And Singapore has, of course, also maintained a very low count of community cases over the same period of time. And this means that the risk profile or the chance of getting infected in either city is now considered similar. But of course, they're still taking this cautiously, with the air travel bubble only set to take off if both cities are able to maintain these ideal conditions for the next month.
You can't say for sure that everything will be smooth sailing. Even New Zealand, Australia, at the point of launching the bubble, I think both governments also told their populations that ups and downs are to be expected. New Zealand has suspended travel from Western Australia, which has gone into a 3-day lockdown. So I think this kind of stop-start situation is the norm.
Last week, Singapore reported a new cluster in its port and also identified cases in a migrant worker dormitory. Mr. Ong said that seen in context, these are contained away from the larger community. The air travel bubble will be suspended for at least 2 weeks if the 7-day moving average of unlinked community cases in either city exceeds 5 cases.
Flights on the air travel bubble for the first 2 weeks are selling out. Prices for those still available have risen to as much as $1,000. And that's for a one-way ticket to Hong Kong on Singapore Airlines, compared with less than $200 for flights before the 26th of May. The air travel bubble allows up to 200 passengers to travel in each direction a day on designated SIA or Cathay Pacific flights for the first 2 weeks, and up to 400 passengers after that. One Singapore travel agency says the 1 month wait before the launch gives it more time to coordinate with hotels and attractions in Hong Kong to ensure group travel can be done safely and as per requirements in the territory.
那么我们目前也在跟香港的一些合作方呢正在沟通，看看以什么样的方式能够更加能够说既在安全的这种情况下又能够适应这种配套这种安排是一种小团体的形式还是怎么样？
One industry association welcomes the air travel bubble. It says the arrangement allows firms that do business in both cities to get the momentum going again. It also says the move spells brighter days for the travel and hospitality sector, as it could pave the way for other similar arrangements.
I see this travel bubble as extremely timely to sort of get two cities and business individuals and the general demographics and population to sort of get into the groove of this travel bubble. And hopefully you set the stage for a very, very positive second half of the year for everybody.
But one Singaporean who's taking the first ATB flight to Hong Kong says he's keeping his expectations in check, with the COVID-19 situation constantly changing.
I don't really book everything way ahead of time, so that gives gives me some flexibility to change your plans, even if it's just a few days before. So I think perhaps it's something that people who, if there are travelers who want to make use of this air travel bubble arrangement, they can try to be a bit more flexible.